There's been a lot of changes this year at Texas Tech, but some things stay the same. Coming up, we'll have the details on the announcement of another record-setting fall enrollment.
With thousands more students on campus this fall, many groups are ramping up their event schedules to help students take full advantage of the university experience. Find out how students from one college took a big step towards their future careers, while another group was given a special welcome back to campus.
And college life changed dramatically last year as the COVID-19 pandemic ramped up across the country. But with the campus returning to pre-COVID conditions, has life really returned back to normal? MCTV's Patricia Perry talks to a Tech student and professor to get their take on the differences at Texas Tech over the last year and a half.
This is the MCTV Weekday Update.
Welcome to the Thursday edition of the MCTV Weekday Update. I'm Madison Vidales.
And I'm Branden Vasquez.
Over the last year and a half, COVID-19 has had a huge impact on almost all industries, including education. And even though there are some schools that have seen a drop in attendance due to the effects of the coronavirus, Texas Tech has actually seen the opposite result. On Tuesday, the university announced a new fall enrollment record of 40,666 students. The new number was released after passing the 20th class day on Monday. This year's jump marks the 13th year Texas Tech has announced a fall enrollment record. Tuesday's announcement also marks that the second year Tech has reported over 40,000 students enrolled in courses past the 20th class day. The two groups that made the most impact on this year's number are the first-year students and graduate students. Both groups set new enrollment records with 6,677 new students starting at Tech this fall and 6,917 students taking graduate-level courses. Overall, the university's attendance moved up by just over 300 students from last fall's record of 40,332.
Texas Tech's increase to more than 40,000 students may not have been very noticeable last year, but the influx of new students is much more obvious this fall, and with the majority of the student body back in person, there's also been a return of several large annual events both on and off campus. Yesterday, the College of Engineering hosted their fall job fair at the Lubbock Memorial Civic Center. Thousands of students flooded the facility, meeting up with representatives from businesses from around the country. Students had the chance to discuss potential internships and job opportunities or just learn more about the options for the future. The representatives at yesterday's fair included local companies along with some big-name national corporations.
We have two of our biggest sponsors, Phillips 66 and Valero, and then we have a lot of other companies more into technical fields or oil or all of the above.
The Fall Engineering Job Fair ran from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Wednesday. But the college also offered a virtual job fair today through the Career Eco website. If you missed both events, the College of Engineering also hosts another job fair during the spring, along with a job grid on the college's website.
Back here on campus, another group hosted a special event that gave university departments a chance to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Red Raider Trader took a place from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. yesterday in the sub ballroom. The event was put on by Tech's Procurement Services to give faculty, staff, and even students a place to drop off unused items that might find a new home across campus. Attendees then had the chance to browse the ballroom, take anything they might find useful, and even enjoy some cookies and lemonade during their visit. Red Raider Trader is only held once a year, but university departments have another option available to recycle unused items at any time.
Furniture, calculators, monitors, anything that's not being used goes over to surplus, and they kind of keep it all in one spot for us. That way if another department does need it, they can go to surplus, and they have big auctions at the end of the month too where they sell a bunch of unused items, and again, that's just another way of just reducing the waste that campus produces.
The monthly surplus auctions are held at Texas Tech Warehouse, located just off West Loop 289 off Erskine Street. Each auction takes place at the last Friday of each month, and admission is free and open to the public.
You may not know it, but Texas Tech is considered one of the top military-friendly universities in the nation. And earlier this week, Tech's military and veterans programs took time to make those with military connections feel at home. On Monday, the Fall MVP Welcome event was held in the sub ballroom. The event gave the university's military community a chance to come together, socialize, eat, and meet others with connections to the armed forces. Not all attendees were veterans or members of the military. Some students like China Vargas have family connections to the armed forces, but still appreciate all the opportunities offered through MVP.
My dad is a vet, and I have been traveling all around the world with him and my whole family, and so being able to come to school because of the military is such a great thing for me.
Bain Cerna is a veteran and student here at Texas Tech. Cerna says that the Tech's military and veterans programs do a great job at helping those coming out of the military find their place at the university.
It's just cool being around other veterans and other people that are kind of like-minded, have similar experiences, you can really relate to. Because sometimes it's hard to relate to the younger, 18, 19-year-old college students. So this is a really good veterans community they got here.
MVP hosts multiple events throughout the school year. For more information on Tech's military and veterans programs, along with the list of future events, visit mvp.ttu.edu. After a record-breaking start to the week, students may have been caught off guard as temperatures dropped dramatically between Monday night and Tuesday afternoon.
That's right, Branden. On Monday, we hit a record high of 99 degrees, but Tuesday temperatures only reached the mid-70s. And on Wednesday morning, the first day of fall kicked off with lows in the 40s. So will our roller coaster week of weather continue as we head into the first week of autumn? Let's take a look at the MCTV forecast. Students heading to 8 a.m. classes today felt a slight increase in temperatures from yesterday, with lows dropping back into the mid-50s last night. Since then, we've seen mostly sunny skies and highs have slowly climbed back into the low 80s. Temperatures will increase a little more before sunset, and lows should be back in the mid-50s overnight. Tomorrow, we'll see a few more clouds start to the morning, followed by partly cloudy skies tomorrow afternoon. But the cloud cover won't have much of an effect on the weather, with temperatures expected again to reach the mid-80s. On Saturday, the first weekend of fall will start out with slightly warmer conditions, more clouds, and high topping out near 90 degrees. Sunday will be a near repeat of Saturday's weather, with partly cloudy skies and highs in the mid to upper 80s. The only difference on Sunday will be a slight increase in the wind, with speeds expected to reach up to 20 miles per hour in the late afternoon. Looking ahead, the final week of September will start off with similar conditions to the weekend, but there's finally a chance of rain in the forecast in the middle of the week.
As we mentioned earlier, COVID-19 has had a huge impact on the Texas Tech campus over the last year and a half. But with the start of this fall semester, the university has attempted to bring back a sense of normalcy, with many aspects of college life going back to pre-COVID conditions.
If you've been on campus since the beginning of the pandemic, you're aware of the differences between now and last year. But how close is the university to returning to life before COVID? MCTV's Patricia Perry headed out on campus to find out.
After Texas Tech returned to an in-person format, we keep hearing the term return to normalcy. Are we actually able to return to a normal environment now in a post-COVID world? What is normal like on campus, and how is it different from a pre-COVID world to a post-COVID world? I talked to professors and students to get their take on what normalcy looks like now and what campus is looking like in a normal format in a post-COVID world. Zoom helped us continue learning in a sense, but many felt it didn't leave much room for interaction. Some are still struggling to interact in an in-person format. Many got accustomed to logging onto class from home and not having to show up. Junior at Texas Tech University, David Peterson, said students don't seem to be as involved.
I feel like classes were definitely a lot fuller, like there's a lot more people in them. And also, like, classes were more engaged beforehand. There was a lot more student interaction with teachers and stuff like that.
Just like interaction, many students and professors feel like building community was lost as well. They feel that they didn't have the opportunity to build peer-to-peer or professor-to-student relationships. Associate Professor Cam Stone talks about how relationships were lost.
Those bonds and some relationship things between students and professor, I think you lose that in Zoom. And of course, in the asynchronous online environment, you never know any of the other people. Typically, you might have another class with them where it's hybrid or they're Zooming, then they might know somebody, but I don't think you get that personal aspect to making a relationship or picking up on something that maybe you wouldn't otherwise.
Getting back into the swing of things in an in-person format will be difficult for many students. They aren't used to the workload that in-person classes have. Stone talks about why students may struggle more this semester compared to previous semesters.
Transitioning back from having PowerPoints, not that I did when I Zoomed, but a lot of other instructors did, and I think that will be a little bit of a gear change for some students, especially for instructors like me that don't post their stuff unless there's an accommodation that's needed, of course. And I think that will be a lot more work that students are not used to because maybe they haven't had to do it for a year or so.
Overall, students and professors like Peterson and Stone are happy to have classes in person. Many say they prefer having to work harder and get up to go to classes. For MCTV, I'm Patricia Perry.
The Texas Tech football team is currently 3-0 for the first time since 2017. The Red Raiders finished out preseason play over the weekend with a 54-21 blowout over Florida International University. But the team is getting ready for its first real test against the Texas Longhorns this weekend. Tech will head south to Austin to take on the 2-1 Longhorns on Saturday. Texas is coming off a 58-0 thrashing of Rice at Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. The team is led by junior quarterback Casey Thompson, who only had 164 yards passing against the Owls last weekend. Texas's rushing attack made up the majority of the team's offense with more than 420 yards on the ground. Compare that to Tech's offense led by first-year quarterback Tyler Shuck, who threw for 399 yards against FIU, and it should be an interesting showdown this weekend at the state capitol. Tech versus Texas kicks off at 11 a.m. on Saturday with national TV coverage on ABC.
Texas Tech volleyball hasn't had the perfect start to their season, but the team is in good shape with a 4-game winning streak headed into the conference play. Last weekend, the Red Raiders were on a roll as they pulled off a series win at the Green Wave Volleyball Invitational. Tech defeated host University Alabama Birmingham 3-0 early Friday afternoon, followed by another 3-set sweep against the Tulane Green Wave later that afternoon. The Red Raiders ended their road trip on Saturday against Sam Houston, who put a little more up in the fight, but the team still took home the victory, 3-1. Texas Tech volleyball now returns home to start the Big 12 play against Kansas in a 2-day doubleheader. Tech kicks off this weekend's showdown with the Jayhawkins tomorrow at 6 p.m. at the United Supermarkets Arena, followed by another 6 o'clock start on Saturday. If you can't make it out to the USA, you can catch all the action on the Big 12 now on ESPN+. So Brandon, with the Texas Tech football team out of town this weekend, are you planning to stop by the USA to cheer on the volleyball team against Kansas?
Honestly, depends on how much homework I have, but if I don't have any, then I'm definitely going to try and make it out, and if I don't, they still have my full support for an amazing season.
That's all for today's edition of the MCTV Weekday Update.
Thanks so much for joining us, and be sure to check out the gtuhub.net every day for more news. We'll see you next week.